All right. Good evening, Inspire Beauty. Happy Monday. We are officially halfway through January, and tonight we're talking all about goals. I'm just going to dive right into it. I'm not going to start with any announcements or anything because I just want to make sure that all the content gets out to you guys tonight, and that I don't miss anything as I'm talking long-windedly. So before we even start, show of hands, guys, how many of you guys, and no shame, like there's no judgment here, how many of you have actively set goals for 2018? Yeah, okay. And how many of you are overwhelmed by the goals that maybe you set, or just the path that's ahead of you that now you have to like achieve or work towards? Totally natural. Some people become overwhelmed to the point that they don't even take the initial step to set goals. So you guys are already ahead of the game tonight. And so you might be thinking, okay, well, I've already set goals. What is this going to benefit me tonight? But I want to make sure that you're not just putting fancy pictures on a vision board, that I want to guide you now to take what you've crafted, that long-term goal, that vision for a year from now, or maybe 2 to 3 years, or 5 years down the road, whatever that big kind of broad vision of your life is. I want to start breaking it down into kind of actionable steps that you can take. So we're going to work through this together tonight in a little bit. But before we start, I want to kind of break down a couple points. So first of all, with the vision that you created and crafted, when we created our vision boards, the biggest question you want to ask yourself is, what do you want your life to look like? So 1 year from now, how do you want that to look? And it can be totally different for everybody. It should be totally different. I don't want you to think of, what does Brittany want my life to look like? Or what should a Beachbody coach's life look like a year from now? I want to know what you want. Where do you want to be? What do you want to do a year from now? You know, maybe there's some things that you've been dying to try or do, and you just maybe don't have the time or the financial situation or the resources. So what is it that you want to do? Where do you want to go? Maybe there's places you've been dying to travel, or you want to go up the ladder in your business. Where is it that you're wanting to go? What do you desire? Okay. And I encourage you guys to create an exhaustive list. Like, make a list that is so long that you literally have to put it down and then come back to it when you have like an aha in the shower, that kind of a list, you know? Because the first 5 to 10 things, and I used to teach this to my students in elementary school, when we would brainstorm things, their first 5 to 10 was what everybody would say, right? If I said, name something red right now, I bet the first 5 to 10 would be very basic things that are red, right? Like a fire truck, a heart, Santa Claus, an apple. Thanks, Mom. Mom's in the background. She's not getting paid for this. You know, so I bet those first 5 to 10 items, even 20 items, might be pretty generic things that most everyone would rattle off. But then when you start having to really dig for things that are red, it's like, oh, like all of a sudden you start to find these ideas that maybe other people haven't thought of yet, right? And maybe just ideas for your life that you didn't even know were on your heart. So I encourage you to create an exhaustive list. And I know that when we did our vision board, you did a very similar exercise. But again, a vision board isn't meant to be done in December so we can have butterflies and feel goods at the end of the year. We make that so then that gives us a direction of travel. Okay? I also encourage you in this whole journey of looking at what you want and what you desire in that list, remove comparison. Again, it's not what I want you to do, or it's not what someone else is doing and you should follow suit. It is your own journey, okay? And the more specific you can pinpoint it, the better, because then it becomes yours. You're not doing it just to do it. It has depth and meaning. If all of your goals, you guys, in business, it begins with your customer base. Okay, so no matter what your goal is, if your goal is that you want to be 5-star elite at the end of this year, or 2-star premier, or you just want to become a diamond coach, or you want to run 12 challenge groups in 12 months, right? 1 challenge group every month of all of 2018. The goal begins with inviting people. Your customer base is going to be your best line of defense for all of these goals if you're building a business. And so I want you to keep that in mind as we're talking tonight, okay? Is that like January right now, the more people you're getting into your customer-based pipeline, the more success you're going to have to continue having people roll over on their Shakeology Home Direct and month to month and seeing results in your group. Those people that see results in the group and are like ecstatic and feel great, they're going to be the ones that want to go further and maybe pay it forward and jump onto the coaching opportunity. Those people are where you start, right? Out of thin air, you're not just going to have people join you to be a coach or join your challenge group without having to work for that customer base first, okay? So here's a bunch of questions I have for you that are kind of like what do I want my life to look like? Do you want to write a blog? Do you want to quit your job? There are people that are on our team that have told me that that's one of their end results, that one day they would love to be able to walk away from their current place of employment. Do you want to earn the Success Club trip for 2019? Do you want to run 12 consecutive challenge groups? Do you want to grow your following to 5,000 followers before the year is over? Do you want to earn your car payment each month with Beachbody money? Do you want to pay off your debt eventually? Do you want to help 50 people jumpstart their self-care journey? You have a goal that 50 people will buy challenge packs between now and whenever your end date for that is. Do you want to read 20 books to grow yourself and your mentality and your mindset throughout the year? So what does your heart desire? Rather than just say, I want to hit Success Club, or I want to become an Emerald coach. It's like, no, break it down. Like, what do you really want? Do you want to hit Success Club because you want to earn the Success Club trip? Do you want to hit Success Club because you know that would allow you to pay off your Shakeology each month? Do you want to hit Success Club because you are trying to help 50 people on their journey? Is hitting Success Club important to you because otherwise you wouldn't be able to run those 12 challenge groups? That was your goal, right? And so breaking it down into like, this is what I want to do. This is exactly what I want to do this year is going to be a lot more helpful and will help you when you start to feel overwhelmed. Like we all kind of agreed at the beginning that we'd feel overwhelmed about the goals we've set. This allows us to break it down into some actionable steps. The problem is though, you guys, those vision boards that we created, those awesome, awesome vision boards, most people aren't serious about their vision. And I'm not saying necessarily that you personally are not serious about your vision, but it's really easy, like I said, to make this beautiful board and to get caught up in the excitement of it and then to just allow it to collect dust and not actually give it meaning. If the things on your board don't have meaning in your life, you guys, you're going to give up. It was really cool when I was presenting at Super Saturday. I presented about vision boards. I did the same recording that I did for you guys, or the same PowerPoint that I did for you guys. But at the end, I showed off your vision boards. And I got teary-eyed when I got to talk about Mary and Mary wanting to get her tuba out again because she freaking loves performing. And I got teary-eyed when I talked about Amy, who just wants to get married to her boyfriend and to be healthy enough to have a bun in her oven, and that cute little safety pin she showed with like the other safety pin inside of it. Like that stuff warmed my freaking heart. That's not just like butterflies and roses. That's life-changing stuff. That's our lives, you guys. And it has meaning, right? And so when the going gets tough and when things are challenging, remembering that tuba and performing in front of a crowd has depth and meaning, or that baby being healthy and me having a healthy pregnancy has depth and meaning. That's what's going to get you over those difficult times. But there's the other flip to the coin. If you're putting a vision that is not big enough, if you're trying to play small, if it doesn't challenge you enough, it doesn't matter, right? So that's the other side of the coin, is that you don't want to stretch yourself so far that you get frustrated when you're setting goals, right? But if you set something too small and it's something that's just going to inevitably happen anyway, right? Then it doesn't matter to you. It doesn't hold that depth and that meaning. So it can be easy to just brush it off and say, meh, it's okay. I don't need to work on that today, right? The second part of this, you guys, is that we have to take our vision. So we've crafted our vision board, okay? We've got to take that though now and break it into daily actions. So I'm going to use the goal of going 2-star diamond, for example. If your goal is to go 2-star diamond, right? And that's what you put on your vision board. But then you go and you take a part-time job. And trust me, I've been there. I set goals in the beginning of my business, or especially when I moved here to California, I had really big goals in my business. And then I went and I took 2 part-time jobs and then didn't have time to work my business anymore. And it didn't make sense. Like my business ended up going down. Our team suffered. Everything suffered. My goals got put on the back burner because rather than just saying, you know what, I'm going to show up and I'm going to own my business, instead of doing that, I let fear drive me, and I went and I got part-time jobs that just didn't make me feel that great, only because, like I said, fear was ruling my life. But another thing I see people do is they'll want to be, 2-star diamond coach or whatever. I'm going to stick with that one for right now, but then they'll go and they'll teach live classes. And in the time that they're teaching live classes, yeah, that's really fun and that's awesome, but that's not the goal that they put on their vision board, was to do that. It's just this extra like fluffy, shiny object out here. Maybe it's volunteering for things that you feel obligated to do. And, volunteering here or there is great, but if you're volunteering excessively and then it's diminishing your time to work on your goals, it's not a win-win for anyone, right? It takes away from your hours, you guys, is what I'm trying to say. So whatever your goals are, you also have to see if your schedule and your action steps and the time that you have to work towards that is in alignment. Are your daily actions right now, if you can pull out that vision board that you created just a few short weeks ago, or if you set goals for the month, the year, etc., if you could pull those out and look at them, would your daily actions that you have had January 1st through January 15th, where we are right now, would those actions be aligned? I can tell for myself that most days so far this year, I have aligned my actions to the things that are on my vision board. Have I been perfect? Absolutely not. But I have a fire in me right now, and there is some meaning inside of my heart for why I'm working towards it. And so on the days like today, for example, you guys, I just got out of the shower, and I had like 20 minutes before I had to hop on the Zoom. And I hadn't gotten new friends added to my list today. I hadn't had any new conversations, and I hadn't done any like forming conversations, like continued conversations with people, right? So I had done the invites and I had done talking to like, customers and coaches on our team. And I had talked to people, but I hadn't formed new relationships today. And I set my timer. I sat down here, I set my timer, and I said, you know what? I got to do it. Like, it's unacceptable if I don't. And I busted it out because it's so important to me. So my encouragement for you is that your goals, you guys, aren't going to happen if your actions aren't moving you towards them. And I've had plenty of times in my business where I had a big dream or a big goal right on that board or right on that piece of paper, but I wasn't actually putting in the steps to make it happen. And then when it didn't happen, it was like, well, why didn't it happen? Well, I could have told myself. The me now wants to go back to the old me and be like, Brittany, of course it didn't happen. You didn't do what you needed to do to get there, right? I very much would focus on the shiny objects back in the day. And again, I still struggle from time to time with that. Guys, don't write a goal down that you don't know what it means either. So just now I use that example of 2-star diamond. If you're sitting here and you're like, I don't know what a 2-star diamond is, but Brittany said it, so I think I should make that my goal. No. Your goal right now, if you don't know what 2-star diamond is first research what a 2-star diamond is. See if that's in alignment with your life and where you're trying to go, right? And if it is, then maybe look at what's prior to that and start working towards that goal, right? But a lot of times, again, it's like we write down a goal. Myself, case in point, last year, I wrote down 5-star elite because I saw another coach go 5-star elite, and I was like, well, if she can do it, I can do it. But it had no meaning to me all year, and I didn't have the action steps to get there, and so it didn't happen, right? So write down goals, you guys, that first of all, you have a clue what they mean, yeah? A book that I am reading right now, it's called The 12-Week Year, and I meant to have it out here for you guys, but I totally left it in my room, so I'm not going to show you. No, it's okay, Mom. Peanut gallery. My mom's behind the screen right now. But it's called The 12-Week Year. And basically what it does is it breaks down your goals into quarters. So rather than thinking, like stretching it to 2018, like I want to be, for example, for me, 5-star diamond in 2018. Well, I can't just continue going through 2018 saying, yeah, I'm going to be a 5-star diamond. I'm going to be a 5-star diamond. I need to break it up into quarterly goals, right? I got to break it down further. So you break these things down, you deconstruct them. So first of all, I'm going to start with this first quarter. So we're going to look from January to March. And I want to give the example of going diamond because I feel like that's a really attainable goal for a lot of coaches on our team right now. And it's actually a goal that a lot of our coaches on our team are working towards. So what would a 12-week goal look like if I wanted to go diamond, right? How would that break down? Well, first of all, you've got to ask yourself, what is diamond? You know, like what does that even mean? So we've got 4 coaches on our left, 4 coaches on our right. 2 of those coaches must be emerald level coaches, meaning they have 2 downline as well, left and right. All of those coaches must be active. So if you have 8 coaches, but 2 of them are inactive on one leg, it's not going to count to advance to diamond. So you have to have 8 active coaches total. Okay. So now that you know what it is, like you've got to look at, okay, what is it? What do I physically need to achieve that goal? And you could break it down for anything, for becoming a premier coach or an elite coach or whatever, right? You've got to figure out what are the rules and regulations so I know what I'm working towards, yeah? So that's the first step. But then we got to look at what are the action steps to get there. Well, again, you've got to have 8 coaches. If we're breaking it down into a quarter, you got to look at the subtasks, okay? We did a really fun exercise in a Diamond Dash group that Julianne's running where she showed a graphic or she gave a graphic, and it basically shows you that if you get 2 coaches in January, 2 in February, 2 in March, 2 in April, that you could essentially be diamond by April if you're at least getting 2 coaches every month. Essentially, you're going emerald each month, right? 2 coaches to join your team. So that would be one of those clear defining things. When I watched coaches fill that form out, what was really cool was that some of them already had, 4 coaches on their team. So they were kind of already covered for January and February. They were ahead of the game, essentially. So that's pretty cool because now it takes a little of the pressure off. Like, okay, I could, when I invite 2 more in January, that's going to be 6 on my team now. And then I invite 2 more in February, and that's 8 on my team now. And I could be diamond way sooner than I thought, because I am actually further along than what I was thinking. So it's also important, you guys, that as you're looking at the action steps, you also have to see how far along you are. Where do you measure up currently? Is that something that you're going to be able to do? And then breaking it down into subtasks. Well, the biggest thing with going diamond is that you add coaches, right? So if that's the goal, you have to figure out, how do you find coaches? Well, the best way to find coaches is that you have challengers in your group that you help to get results and fall in love with the community, with the programs, with their journey, with their, I remember when Amanda joined our team, her exact words to me were that she felt unstoppable. You guys, that's powerful. When someone feels unstoppable, that's a time where it's like, man, then you should be a coach, because if you're feeling unstoppable just in my group, imagine what it would be like for you to pay that forward to other people and get to experience that same quality that happened to you and people that you get to help, right? And so it's important, guys, if you're looking, if diamond is the goal, challenge groups are non-negotiable, right? And then you got to look at how many people are you inviting? How many people per week? Break that down in how many people per day. And then you've got to look at your calendar. So all these action steps, you guys, when you're looking at that vision board, it is beautiful, it is shiny, it is exciting, but you have to put action to your goals, okay? So you got to look at the calendar. When are your start dates? And we're just looking at the first quarter. So I don't want you, again, that overwhelming feeling. I don't want you to think like, okay, what am I doing in November? I don't freaking know what I'm doing in November. You got to the world will evolve and change and shift, and there might be a better idea for November the closer I get. But right now, are you running a challenge group in January? Well, January is almost to the end, but 80-Day Obsession just came out, so you could plug people into that. Or you could start one on January 29th, which is when my next one is starting. So it's still possible. You could co-run a challenge group if you've never ran one before, or ask your upline if you can plug people into theirs and help her out. Start date of your February group and a start date of your March group. Are you going to run any business opportunity things like a coach sneak peek? Or do you have a resource like a what is coaching call, like a Zoom? Those are all things. Asking your upline, hey, when's your next business opportunity presentation? So that you can plug people into that, so you know what you're inviting to. And the other thing is consistency on social media. The more consistent you are on social media, the more natural trust you will get, you guys. I think especially nowadays, the beginning of your journey for some people can be really difficult because, and we all hit like a patch in our journey where I feel like it becomes a lot more difficult to reach people. But it all comes back down to those people trusting in you. They've got to trust. And everyone has their guard up. Everyone has their guard up before they're going to tell you yes. Okay. And so you have to also understand how you would feel in that position before you joined or when you were trying to make the choice. Did you say yes right away on day one, or did it take some time for you to think about it? And then you watched your upline coach, or you watched your, the people on Inspire Beauty and just kind of tried to get a feel for them. Like, are they legit? Like, is this a scam? Like think back to how you felt. And so the more consistent you are and the more that you showcase what it's doing for your life, not just the highlight reel, but all of it, the easier it is to then transfer people over into those challenge groups as well as into coaching. So again, you guys, you've got to know where you're going. I love this line. I wrote it down. It cracks me up. You can't get in a car with shitty directions, you guys. You can't. You just can't. You can. You could say, hey, I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to drive due north. Awesome. But like, where are you going? So when you look at that vision board, for example, one of my things right here says bring home the bacon, and that's really nice. It's fluffy. It makes me feel good. Like I'm working towards earning more money because with that money I can do X, Y, and Z with it, right? But if all I do is say I'm just going to bring home the bacon this week, guys, like what does that mean? That doesn't have any clear direction. So the next part is, do you have an effective plan? Okay, so we're going to talk through the goal setting plan and how that works. And my teachers, which are a lot of you on here, the SMART goals, right? So specific, is your goal specific and is it measurable? These are some goals that I often see people make for themselves, and they're great. I understand where they're coming from, but they're not specific and they're not measurable, and there are better ways to craft them. So I'm going to give you some examples of like not so hot goal setting. I want to grow my following. Okay, but what would make you feel successful? So what would be a better way of writing that? You guys want to, this is where we get a little interactive. I'm going to have you guys help me out to fix these. I'm going to read your comments right now. So the goal is I want to grow my following. How could we make that more specific and more measurable? Reaching out to a specific number of people a day, try to achieve a few a day. You could change it to I want to have X followers or X friends by a certain date. Absolutely. Yeah, all of those. So the Mary and Natalie, you're more in the breaking it down into like what an action step would be. But before we even get to an action step, when we're setting that physical goal, yeah, like Kaylee said, you'd want to tell me, I want to have 5,000 followers by March 31st or 30th. I don't know how many days are in March. I think I just added a day on that month. But you know what I mean? I want to have 5,000 followers. And then Mary and Natalie, where you came in with that, that's perfect. Because then, yes, if I want 5,000, well, now I can reverse engineer it back and I can say, of those 5,000, okay, we'll break it into 3 months. That's going to be a little over 1,000 each month, right? Or almost 2,000 each month. So then what does that look like each week? What does that look like each day, right? So then you can reverse engineer it back down and down and down. But you got to know what you really want. A lot of people are like, yeah, I want to earn more money. I want to earn, it doesn't matter. I just want to earn more money. But it's like, well, if you earn $5, then are you satisfied? Like would $5 and then you're like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, I am a success. Most people would hit the $5. They'd be proud of themselves. That's an awesome achievement to earn your first paycheck, but then that probably wasn't the actual intent about more money. So do you see where we need to get a little bit more specific? Some other ones, I'm going to post more. I don't know what that means. Saying I will post 2 times on social media every day, Monday through Sunday, every single day from January through March, right? Giving specific numbers. And then you can measure it. You can say, okay, did I hit that? Did I hit 5,000 followers? Did I post every single day, 2 times a day, all the way from January through the end of March? I will get back to my workouts. Well, let me know when that happens, boo-boo, because I don't think you're really going to get back to your workouts. I'll get back to my workouts. Yeah, okay. No, I am going to print off 80-day obsession, and I will follow the calendar as it is written from January 15th to April 15th, right? Like those are the things. I want to run challenge groups. Well, have at it, girlfriend. Like, no, I will run 12 challenge groups in the year 2018. Every month I will run 1 new challenge group. I will offer 1 new challenge group for my clients, right? Like that's what we're looking for. Really specific, measurable. Yes, SMART goals for sure. Okay, so that we've got the S and the M, the A is the attainable. So is it something you can actually do? Let's go back to that whole, like, are you setting a goal just because you heard that from some other coach, or you heard it on the team page, or you heard your upline was setting it and you felt like maybe you should too, just to follow suit? Or is it actually something that you can do? Right? Mary was just talking about, and this is where it's like, it gets serious because Mary, you said you're struggling right now because how do you find the time to do 80-day obsession, practice your tuba, spend time with Gabriel, go to work, get a healthy amount of sleep, cook and eat your dinners, right? And beyond that, girl, you've got way other, like you're planning a wedding. Let's see, what else are you doing? You are, you have like cats to take care of. You probably have to lesson plan with all that stuff and like grade things. I'm sure about that. Let's see what else is on your list. Oh, mandarins. Like you have camps that you go to for all that. Like you are fully loaded. And so that's why I said it gets difficult when we're not organized, right? We just kind of say, I want to do 80-day obsession. I want to, whatever your visions are, whatever the goals are. I want to do that, but you've got to reverse engineer it and see, is that actually attainable? And if at this season in your life, the answer is no harm, no foul, that doesn't mean it has to go away forever, but you just have to figure out what priorities fit your life right now. Okay, moving on. Perfect example is to say, I want to be 2-star diamond by March, but you've yet to run a challenge group and you've yet to invite a single person to the coaching opportunity. No offense, but that's not attainable for you. You got to start like at the foundation, right? You got to start at the beginning because you will get frustrated and you will give up if you're setting these lofty goals that you just physically can't attain. I also encourage you to state your goals in a positive way, not I hope or I want or I wish. Those types of words, that type of language is saying that, it might happen. No, you need to word it positively that on March 30th, I will have 5,000 followers on Run to Your Happy Place, right? State it as if it's already happened, okay? Own it, be excited, because when you're putting in that passive, like I hope or I want or I wish, you aren't excited about it. You're timid. Don't be timid with your goals, okay? Taekwondo, that's what I was also trying to think of, Mary. Yes, thank you. I knew that. Thank you for reminding me. The other thing too, guys, is with these goals, so we made our vision board. Now we're looking quarterly. Like take your vision board. I encourage us after this call to take that vision board and now set quarterly goals. So set a goal, whatever, look at that board, break down, where things are, where things line up, and break it down. Just what are you going to do from January to March? What do you need to do from January to March? And then get accountable. Success partners, a success pod, meaning a group of people, right? Your spouse, your best friend, but you need someone to hold you accountable because when the going gets tough and no one is holding you to your goals, it's really easy to just quit on ourselves, okay? And that's why our challenge groups are so special because a lot of those people would just quit on themselves if they didn't have that support. Be time bound, you guys. We're going to do 12 weeks at a time. Then break it down to 1 month at a time. Break it down to a week at a time. And take Sundays, you guys, and be able to reflect. Did you make that goal happen that week? If not, is it not attainable? Is it something you need to just adjust? Is it next week you can work harder or maybe put in a little more manpower? Like, what is it that you need to do? Or you readjust the goal, right? The end goal. But I encourage you not to adjust your end goals out of fear or out of frustration or out of playing small, right? I want you to only do it if it no longer aligns and serves your life, okay? But as we go through this, you guys, celebrate your goals, celebrate your milestones. So look at those 12 weeks. When you get to the end of 12 weeks, and the cool thing is, like with 80-day obsession, I'll use that one, for example, because that's 3 months long. And when we get there, don't just get to the end of 80-day obsession and be like, hooray, here's my before and afters. Okay, moving on, next program or next challenge group starts. Like, no, have something that is going to be what you're working for. For me, I am buying a new bathing suit and I'm really pumped about it for my vacation that happens right after 80-day obsession. And that is like what is on my radar right now. And it's not because, I don't have bathing suits or like whatever. It's just something like really that I don't ever do for myself. I never buy myself a bathing suit for completing a program, right? And so find something that you can do to celebrate yourself as you go, right? Also, keep in mind, you guys, that a good plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow. So all my perfectionists out there, everybody who's like, oh, I have to have everything in a row. No, just start. You've got to get comfortable that as an entrepreneur, as a CEO of your own business, that part of you has to be willing to just try stuff and then fix it as you go. Trust me when I say that there are so many things that I just said, okay, I'm going to just try this free group out and see if it works. And sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. And then I learned from it. After that, it's like, okay, what part of that was great? What wasn't so great? How can I make it better? And that's how we grow as entrepreneurs. So I'm going to walk you through like a sample goal, okay? So sample goal meaning help 50 people by March 29th. So actionable steps. If I'm going to help 50 people by March 29th, that's what I want to do in the first quarter. 50 people are going to get helped. Well, I need to invite anywhere from 5 to 10 people a day. I need to engage in Facebook interest groups and grow my following. I need to know how many challenge groups I'm running. Okay. Then I look at my priority steps, right? Write it down into what the highest priority steps are. So all that stuff, inviting those people. And those are my priorities. If my big goal is that, these are the things that I have to attack daily. But then you have to look at what is it not, right? And understand that too. My goal, writing a blog, might be awesome and it might fulfill me, but is that going to help me help 50 people by March 29th? Maybe indirectly, yeah, but that's probably not at the forefront of my tasks that I'm going to sit down and do, right? Especially if I'm crunched for time. Scrolling social media is not going to help me hit my goal. Taking 30 minutes to craft a post is not going to help me hit my goal. So you have to think, how do I make this happen? So once you figure out your goals, look at that vision board, break down some goals from that vision board that you want to achieve by the end of March in the first quarter, and then ask yourself, how do I make it happen? But on the flip of that, I also want you to ask yourself, how will you get over it when obstacles and struggles submerge? Because they will. You will have objections. You might lack consistency at some point. You might have a hard time finding new people in your network who are interested. Every time you face one of these obstacles or struggles on your way to that goal, how are you going to overcome it? Is it a thing where you go and you talk to your success partners or your success pod? Do you reach out to your upline? Do you plug in like harder, laser focus even harder with your team and with your challengers, right? Like what is it? Personal development, dive into a book on those days where it's just not working. You've got to figure out for you, because what happens more often than not is we set these goals. We know what we need to do to make them happen. But then when an obstacle or a struggle or a challenge comes in our way, we immediately give up. And not us, not this time. Okay, last little bit, guys. I'm going to give you a couple tips for when you're setting these goals, because that's what I would love for you to do for yourselves. And then share them with your upline, with somebody you trust, but share them, okay? Get them out there. But the first tip is keep it simple. Sometimes we try to overcomplicate things, right? Just keep it simple. Keep your goals simple. Now, simple doesn't mean play small. It just means don't overcomplicate. Like you don't need to, have a podcast up and running by March 30th, right? You don't need to have your own website launched by tomorrow. Like keep it simple. Don't lose focus when life happens, when things happen. Don't lose focus. Keep that vision in front of you, but have those goals also in front of you as well. Track, track, track. I can't tell you how much of my business I used to not track. And I wish that like my upline had just kicked me a little harder to track, because there is no way that I can remember the conversations literally the next day, honestly, at this point in my life. I'm getting old, but it's hard to remember. And it's hard to say like, well, I thought I worked out every day, or I thought I drank my shake every day. But when you can actually look back and say, oh, you know what, I actually missed a whole week of that. It's like, oh, okay. It makes it clear why or why not you hit your goals. And I'm going to kind of wrap it up with this. I want you guys to raise your own bar in this entire journey. So those vision boards, like I keep looking at mine, were incredible. They brought tears to my eyes and they were absolutely stunning. But how can you elevate yourself this year? By creating those goals. So your call to action after tonight, you guys, is I want you to take that vision board and take the goals you've already crafted and start setting them as a quarterly goal from January to March. Share them, share them, share them. Stay plugged into our team, plugged into training every week. Get yourself to Summit. Immerse yourself in this business and make sure that there's no plan B for you. That it's not, I didn't hit my goal and I just give up and quit. That you just readjust, you adjust your sails and you keep going, because I know that your goals will eventually happen if you do that. All right, guys, that is it for tonight. That was a lot. And I don't want it to cut us off, but I do want to get a quick pic. So everybody smile. 3, 2, 1. And if you have questions or anything, y'all, take them to the team page. I'm so thankful for you. I cannot wait to see your goals.